What's up guys, Coach Matt here, and after working with over 1,000 professional, collegiate, and everyday athletes, I can tell you that the number one most common issue I see people struggle with is tight hip flexors. It can be really painful and annoying because it puts a roadblock between you and the active things that you love. Now let's say you've been sitting, get up out of your chair, and you feel the front of the hip scream with tightness. Or they stop you in your tracks while you're running. Or maybe you feel it doing squats. Regardless, we all do the same thing to try to get it to go away. You stretch them. You stretch them some more. And then you stretch them even more. But no matter what, they never loosen up. Don't worry, you're not alone. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you the most simple and effective way to relieve those tight hip flexors for good. I know it's going to be a complete game changer for you, so keep watching. Real quick, if you find today's coaching helpful and want the full system to unlock tight, sticky hips, come join me for the Healthy Hips 10-Day Challenge, where I show you how to take control of your self-care in less than 10 minutes a day. All right, you guys ready to get moving? So let's do this. When it comes to tight hip flexors, what most don't realize is that the tightness is because of a lack of strength in the tissue, and it's not something stretching will fix. You can't stretch your way out of tightness, friends. Now I know that sounds a little crazy because your intuition tells you to stretch something if it feels tight, but you actually have to strengthen the tissue in its most vulnerable state, which is when it's lengthened. When this happens, your tissue actually calms down and releases that tight, sticky feeling. This is the missing ingredient. In today's exercise, we'll use the classic hip flexor stretch, but add our secret strength sauce to it to eliminate that tightness. Now, you technically don't need any equipment for this. I don't have any here with me, but some people kind of like having like one of those sturdy foam rollers or like even a chair, because you can put it in front of you and kind of hold on to it if you don't feel all that comfortable in this half-kneeling position that I'm currently in. But it's completely up to you. You don't need it, but it does sometimes help. Now, before we get into the full coaching, the biggest thing you have to keep in mind here is, one, we don't want to cause any excessive pain, pinching, or tightness. So in terms of like a stretch, we want to, like a scale of 1 to 10, we want to be at like a 5 or a 6. A 1 being you don't feel anything. A 10's like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest stretch I've ever felt in my life. We don't want to feel that. That's sometimes too aggressive for the body to handle. Remember, we're not trying to have like the best hip flexor ever. We're trying to get your hip flexor to calm down so it will finally loosen up via strengthening. So what we're going to do here is we're going to sit in that classic stretch for 2 minutes. So the classic stretch, we're going to get into that right now, is we want to get in this half-kneeling position. Now from here, we've all done this before, but most of the time this is what we end up doing, right? We push the hips forward to create this length. That feels good, but you're not actually hitting your hip flexor, and here's why. Your hip flexor, which is more commonly known as your psoas muscle, it connects to your spine. So what that means is if I pull my belly button in and I scoop my pelvis, now I push my spine back, which is where that hip flexor is attached. Now I'm going to feel a completely different sensation here. So it looks like I'm not really doing all that much, but if you let your shoulders kind of roll forward, scoop your pelvis like you're taking your belt buckle and pointing up at your face, you'll feel this nice stretch here. So we're going to set the clock for 2 minutes. And so if you had that foam roller or chair, it would just kind of be right here. If you don't have that, you can just rest your hands here, or you can just do whatever you want, whatever's comfortable, but you want to feel a good 5 out of 10 stretch right here. So I'm squeezing that glute, pulling my ribs down, pulling my butt underneath me. Now, why do we hold for 2 minutes? 2 minutes is what science has shown us is that if we hold this stretch for 2 minutes, we get a temporary increase in range of motion. Keyword there is temporary. What happens is we get this nice increase in range. I'm going to be like, oh, that feels good, I feel better. And then 60 to 90 minutes down the road, bam, it tightens right back up. Because we didn't teach the body how to use that new range of motion. If you don't use it, you'll lose it, right? So we're going to use what we call isometrics to kind of get this stuff a little bit stronger in this new range of motion that we're creating here with this 2-minute stretch. So that's the way it works. So from here, you just want to make sure you're still locked into that position, right? You're still feeling here. So the isometrics, we're going to go over those right now, but don't do them yet. We're still stretching, so you're still feeling good stuff here. Part 1 is you're going to attempt, nothing's going to move, but it's you just driving that knee forward. And what you'll feel is the stuff being stretched starts to come to length. That's the easy part. We'll do that like 50% for 10 seconds, and then we'll start to drive the knee backward to activate the opposite side of the joint. And that's where the magic happens. You got to do the front side and the back side. If you only do one, you're missing out. You got to hit both, all right? So we got about 20 more seconds of sitting here. I know right now it's getting tired, your glutes starting to get a little sore, you might be shaking. This is where having that little post sometimes helps. All right, we got about 10 more seconds. So remember, this is easy. If it feels aggressive, you got to turn your volume down a little bit, okay? Here we go. Get really tight. You can't come out of the stretch. That's super key here. Start to attempt to drag your knee forward, and you'll feel right here at 50% for 10, 9, stay rounded, stay tucked, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, you're going to relax. You should be able to scoop a little more. Ooh, we got a bigger stretch now, right? Stay in that position, and now just attempt to drive your knee backward. You'll feel your glute, maybe a little hamstring. 10, 9, 8, stay solid. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax. But ooh, you got a better stretch now, right? See how rounded I am? That's a good thing. It's not about being big and tall here, because we're using our spine to get a bigger stretch on that hip flexor. We're going to do that exact same sequence one more time. Ooh, feel good right here. And you might be a little sore tomorrow because this is new tissue. It's like, remember the first time you ever did lunges and then you went to sit down on the toilet the next day and your legs were killing you? It's because it was a new stimulus, right? A new stimulus. It won't be that bad though. All right, here we go. Stay tucked, drive the knee forward, and let's go. 50%, 10, 9, should feel here, engaging and contracting now instead of being stretched. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax, push the knee back, and go. 10, 9, 8, 7, should feel all here. 6, 5, stay tucked. 4, 3, 2, and relax. And sink a little bit deeper into that stretch. Ooh, that feels good. All right, so how do we come out of this? I like to do what we call the baby hula hoop. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Imagine you have a hula hoop on you. You can relax that glute. And then it's like, I'm just doing the hula hoop. This is where, once again, you have your balance isn't all that great. You can just kind of hold on to something. So we'll go a couple one way, and then we'll go a couple the other way. And just kind of see what you feel here, because as you move, you'll kind of hit different lines of tissue within that hip flexor. Ooh. All right, so go ahead and just kind of stand up, and now see how those hip flexors feel. Now, I highly recommend doing these about 3 times a week at the end of your lower body workout or on your hard cardio days. And if you've been struggling with chronic pain and tightness in your hips, and it's keeping you from the things like those deep squats or running, or heck, just getting out of the chair without cringing, check out the Healthy Hips 10-Day Challenge. And I'll show you the exact exercise I use with clients to unlock those hips in less than 10 minutes a day. We have a ton of fun with this, so check it out in the link below. Keep up the good work, and remember to be strong, be mobile.